Welcome back. Today I'm taking a look at the Loop Gear SK05. Let's check it out. And this is everything the SK05 comes with. I'll give you a look at the box. Magnetic closure in the front. No lumens and runtime information on the back, but we'll go over that a little bit later on. It comes with a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. And here's the user manual. And according to the user manual, this should have came with a pocket clip, but as you can see, mine is missing, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. So unfortunately, I'm missing that in the box. So let's put all this off to the side, and I'll give you guys a nice close-up of the brand new SK05 from Loop Gear. And while you guys are checking this out, let's talk about some of the features. All right, so the SK05 is a multifunctional flashlight. It's technically a triple source flashlight. There's a spotlight, there's a floodlight, and there's a side light. The floodlight has 3 emitters, and the spotlight has a single emitter that's pushed farther back within the reflector. And the side light has 7 different modes and 8 different colors. And everything is controlled with a single side switch and a rotary dial. The body's made from aluminum, and it also has a magnetic tail cap. The SK05 has a dust and waterproof rating of IP68. The 6 means it's completely dust-proof, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water, and has a 1 meter impact resistance. All right, let's talk dimensions. It comes in at 4.17 inches by 1.88 inches by 0.89 inches. All right, let's weigh this bad boy. Of course, the batteries are in it. Comes out to be 7.7 ounces, fairly hefty. And in grams, it comes out to 218 grams. And keep in mind, I'm not weighing it with the pocket clip on it. So the SK05 is a flat wedge style flashlight that has the ability to be a spotlight and a floodlight all wrapped into one. And everything is controlled right here with a single side switch and rotating dial. So it's nothing we haven't seen before. I've seen this style before. It reminds me a lot of the AceBeam Terminator M2. Very, very similar in aesthetics. So it's nothing new, but it's still a really cool flashlight. In fact, it goes one step beyond the Terminator M2, and it gives us a side light. So you can see this little side light right here. That's the battery life indicator. I'm not going to go over all the functions yet. I'll do that when I talk about the UI. So it does have one step above the AceBeam right here, and it gives us a really cool multifunctional side light. I like it. And I'll give you a look right down the barrel there at those 4 emitters. Spotlight here, floodlight right there. And you can see that spotlight sits fairly far back within that smooth reflector. And those LEDs emit a cool white color temperature, and I'll show you real quick on my desk the color temperature, so hopefully you guys can see what that color temperature is right there on my desk. It's right around, I would say, between 5,600 and 6,000 Kelvin. Just take that with a grain of salt. I'm sort of eyeballing that and making a guesstimate there. And I'll give you a closer look at this aluminum body. I really like the aesthetics here. Loop Gear really did a nice job with the styling of this flashlight. Everything feels really good when I'm holding it in my hands, especially in this orientation with my thumb resting right on that side switch. And another cool feature I thought were these ridges right there on the bottom. So when I'm holding it like this feels really comfortable, and you can see my forefinger sits perfectly in that one ridge. So holding this, very comfortable. And on the opposite side of that side switch, you're gonna see the USB-C charging port. And let me open that real quick. It does have a rubber flap protecting that port. And with that rubber flap, it's getting an IP68 dust and waterproof rating. So that's almost perfect. And I really wish I knew what happened to the pocket clip that was supposed to go right there. So when I was testing this out, I just had to put this in my pocket. So it was loose in my pocket, which I'm not the biggest fan of that. Plus, you can't really see what that looks like. You can just see the empty rectangle where that pocket clip should go. Loop Gear did send this flashlight to me really early on for review purposes. So maybe something happened there. I'm not exactly sure. But according to the user manual, it should be there. So I'm sure when you guys order yours, you'll have one. And let's check out that smooth tail right there. This is magnetic, and I'll show you guys some B-roll of this attaching to my car, which I really like this as an emergency flashlight for my car because of those multicolor flashing modes, the red and blue flashing mode. I always look for modes like that when I put a flashlight in my car, because usually I just have a flashlight in my car for emergencies only, and what's better for emergencies than some sort of red or red and blue flashing light? And yes, that magnetic tail is strong enough to hold up the entire weight of this 7.7 ounce flashlight, but also, since it's flat, you can tail stand it. So I love that. But not only that, check this out. If I put it over to the white mode on the side light and turn it up a little bit, let me turn out my lights here. You can also stand it up on its side like this and it'll stay. So this works really nice as a reading light if you guys are out camping or whatever and need just a nice soft little side light like this. And there are 3 levels here, low, medium, high, so you can see how low that side light goes. I really like this feature because, let me turn the lights back on. There we go. I like that feature because that side light is in a perfect spot, and with that flat side like that, you can just set it up any way you want to, or just aim it at the ceiling and bounce slide everywhere. I think it's great. Now, this flashlight was a Kickstarter, and on the Kickstarter page, I saw the ability to open up this tail and remove the batteries, but I can't do that with this flashlight. There are 2 screws right there. There is an SK05 Pro. Maybe that version has the ability to open up this tail and replace those batteries, but the version that I have here, I can't do that. Let's move on to the lumens and runtime here. So let's start with floodlight mode. Low is 50 lumens, medium is 350 lumens, high is 950 lumens, and then steps down to 50, and then turbo is 3060 lumens, then steps down to 950, and steps down again to 50. Then you can see the step down time. So 40 seconds of 3060 lumens, 5.5 hours of 950 lumens, and 30 minutes of 50 lumens. Now let's go to spotlight. Low is 40 lumens, medium is 220, high is 600, then steps down to 40, and turbo is 1300 lumens for 40 seconds, step down to, 600 for 5 hours, and then steps down again to 40 lumens for 30 minutes. Max light intensity, 41,000 candela, max beam distance, 405 meters, already talked about that. So medium, the sweet spot, is 220 lumens on that spotlight mode and has a 19-hour runtime. That's an excellent runtime on medium for that spotlight mode. And floodlight, 350 lumens. I love to see a medium between 300 and 400 lumens, but 20-hour runtime, that's excellent. Love it. All right, let's go over the UI. So everything is controlled with a single side switch and this rotary dial. So right now I have it in lockout mode. So if I push the button, nothing happens at all. So I like that it has a super easy lockout mode, no fancy button presses, no twisting of a tail cap, just flip that dial to lockout mode and done. Flip it over one more time and now we're in floodlight mode. So a single press on that side switch turns it on, press and hold to cycle through the 3 cyclable brightness levels, low, medium, and high. Double press for turbo, and a single short press turns it right off. And the same deal here, just flip it over one more. It takes us to spotlight mode. Short press turns it on, and the same thing, press and hold, low, medium, and high. And then double press for turbo, single click turns it off. And yes, there is a memory here, so if I turn it back on, and let's go to low, medium, turn it off, turn it right back on, it goes right back to that medium. And from either spot or flood, you can reach the strobe and SOS. So strobe warning, what you want to do is triple click, 1, 2, 3, takes us to strobe, and that is a really intense strobe light. Both of these emitters right here, all 4 emitters flash in that strobe. So it's a really intense strobe light. So I'm going to do that again. So triple click to go to strobe, and then press and hold to go to SOS once it's in strobe. So 1, 2, 3, and then press and hold, and now it's in SOS mode. And even though those special modes aren't listed with their lumen output, these are really, really bright. And then single click that right off. Now let's talk about these special modes right here, and I just clicked it over to that special mode side light, and let's talk about this for a second. So a couple of these are really useful in my opinion, and a couple of them are very, very gimmicky, and I'm sure you guys have figured that out already. Anytime you see RGB on a modern flashlight, they tend to throw in these gimmicky modes that nobody really needs. They're cool to see at first, and then the novelty sort of just wears off. And the SK05 is not immune to that. So the first one is very useful. Single click and it takes us to the white light. and press and hold, low, medium, and high. I really like the white light here. It's a warmer light, and I demonstrated this earlier when I turned the lights off. You can just sit it right there on the side and use this as sort of a reading light. I think this is a really useful function. And the side light modes do have a memory, so if I put it on medium, turn it off and turn it right back on, it goes right back to where I left it off. So that's a nice function that they kept the mode memory on that side light. And to switch between the different modes in the side light, you have to double press once it's there. So right here is a red light. So I figured this would be a really useful light for hunters because it does have a solid red light, 8 different colors to choose from. So I'll press and hold and cycle through those colors. So you can see there's a cyan, blue, pink, red, yellow, green, and a light blue. So there's a lot of different colors here. So once again, turn it off, turn it right back on, it goes right back to that light. So hunters out there, if you want to get to that red light right there, and you could just switch it over to that special mode, and that red light, that constant red light, will instantly turn on. There's no way to switch the brightness levels because once you press and hold that side switch, it switches between those 7 or 8 colors. I keep saying 8 colors because technically there's 8 colors with that white light. When we're talking about actual colors, there's only 7 of them. I thought I should clarify because that could get a little bit confusing. So double press again, and that switches to more of a fade out and fade in. And they call this the colored breathing mode. Press and hold and it switches the colors just like it did before in this color breathing mode. So colored streamlight is next. Double press. So a colored streamlight, you can see what it's doing there. I'm pressing and holding and changing the colors, but you can see what that is. So that's kind of cool, but I'm not really sure how that would be useful in everyday life. Double press again. This is called colored drip light. Sorry, it's called colored drop light. Really no difference at all. Drop light, drip light, but you can see what it's doing there. Pressing and holding, changing the colors. Double press again, and they call this the flowing rainbow. So since it's a rainbow color already, if I press and hold, it changes the speed of that flow right there. So you can see how slow it goes. Hold on. Super slow, press and hold, medium speed, and press and hold, fast speed. I have no idea why this is here. You see this all the time in modern flashlights that have RGB. I think it's just a novelty. Kind of cool at first, but I can't see ever using this. Double click again, and it takes us right back to the most useful light on the side light, and that's that warm white light. Now, if you triple click from here, it takes us to the emergency light, and I love this as well. 1, 2, 3. And it takes us to a red and blue flashing emergency light. Sort of looks like a cop light. Couple this with the magnetic tail. Slap this on the side of your car if you ever break down, if you're outside changing a tire, so people can see you. So I really think this is a really useful function as well. All right, let's do the beam test. And yeah, it's still snowy here, January in Buffalo. So we'll start right here on flood mode, and there's low. Nothing too special. And I'm wondering who we have back here today. There was a few deer over here earlier, but we'll see once I get a little bit brighter. Let's go to medium on flood, and you're starting to see what that pattern looks like right there. I know, I'm well aware that the light is going to reflect a little bit off the snow, but I can't really do anything about it. As I always say, we all don't live in sunny California. Some of us live where there's weather, and when I do these flashlight videos, sometimes there's going to be some snow on the ground. just like this. So there's medium. Press and hold, there's high. All right, let me see if I can get, oh yeah, kissing that barn. It's a little bit over there. And then definitely hitting that tree on high. So I'll put up a distance between me and the tree, scan across, and me and the barn over there, so you guys get a better idea the distance. And checking out those trees, I'm hitting them. Now let's go to turbo on flood. I'm gonna go straight ahead, double click, there we go. So we're not gonna get too long on here. I don't know, was it 30 to 40 seconds? Wow, it's actually really lighting up a lot of this area back here. I'm definitely kissing the barn on that turbo, and I'm seeing a lot, but I'm trying to see those trees in the background there from that barn, and I'm sort of hitting them. But that beam is fairly wide here. Look at that. So I'll hold the camera, I'll hold the flashlight still. And you can see just how floody that beam is. It's actually reaching all the way over here. So I'll hold it straight, and it's hitting my little Noco propane tank there. So not bad. So now let's go back to low and switch it over to spot. So that's one really cool thing I like about this, is just how easy it is to switch, from flood to spot, just like that. Boom, boom. So there's low on spot. Really nice, crispy hot spot right there. And look at that outer perimeter. So already as a spotlight, I sort of like this pattern. All right, the profile is really nice. Easily hitting that tree. And I'm guessing, yeah, easily hitting that barn down there. So press and hold for medium. Oh yeah, not a problem. Look at that. Very nice. So even on medium. Nice little spotlight mode here. Very, very nice. Okay, very cool. Press and hold for high. Oh, turn it back on. Low, medium, high right there. So hopefully I had that right. Let's do this again. Low. Did I even have it? I think I had, I was saying low was medium. So there's low. Yeah, I'm still hitting that tree. And I'm just kissing that barn. So sorry about that. That's low. There is medium. And I was high. Right here is high. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, now let's double click for turbo. Double click. Boom. Look at that. Now I'm hitting those trees back there. And I don't see any deer. I saw a couple deer. You can see the tracks right there. But they might be out. They like to walk over there, and there's a creek over there. They like to walk across. Sometimes I'll leave pumpkins for them. You can see a bunch of snow disturbed right there. But they like to walk across to the creek over there and get a drink. But I don't see any of them right now. But, oh man, I'm messing everything up, huh? I got my finger in the beam. Jeez, all right. Anyways, now let's go to the side light. So let's go low, medium, high, the side light here. And, all right. I mean, this isn't meant to throw out a ton of light. Like I said, I would use this for reading. If I was camping, or if I had to, read something, if I had to see something, and don't need that harsh flood or spot. Nice and diffused, soft light right here. And then double click for that red. Very nice. Yes. So I don't know the lumen output on this red, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. You guys can see for yourself. And then we triple click for that red and blue emergency light right there. Yeah, not bad. So I really like this to stick on the side of a car to signal other drivers that somebody is broken down the side of the road. And you can see that is pretty bright. Oh yeah, that'll definitely do the trick. All right, so I'm going to go to another spot here and demonstrate this beam a little bit better. Let's go. And before I move on here, I just discovered this while I'm doing this beam test. So check this out. And I can't believe I didn't discover this before, but I know it has a memory. I mentioned that it has a memory, but it remembers the memory of both flood and spot simultaneously. So if I put flood on high and then put spot on low, if I go back to flood, it goes right back to high. Go back to spot, it's on low. So let's put spot on high and then flood on low, and look at that. It remembers. So I didn't know that it did this. That is a fantastic feature. That's a really nice touch, guys. So I smartened up a little bit and I started wearing an actual jacket outside doing these beam tests in the wintertime. And yeah, it is heated, so I'm going to keep that on for a minute. It's cold out there. Look how red my hands are. It's cold. But anyways, hopefully you guys get a better idea of the beam profile and pattern of the SK05 here. So far, I really like this flashlight. And not just the beam. I like the fact that you can easily switch between flood and spot on the fly and then go right to that side light, whatever mode you last left it on. And that's another thing. The fact that it has a mode memory is standard, but the fact that it remembers each individual mode, each individual brightness level on each mode is pretty impressive. You guys saw if I put it in low in floodlight mode and high in spot, I can seamlessly switch back and forth and it'll remember the last brightness level for each of those modes. It's great. So that's definitely a pro. Another pro here is I reviewed another flashlight. I can't really remember the name of the flashlight. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen here, where it was a very similar setup, and every time you switched the rotary dial right here, it activated the light and it turned it on, and I didn't like that. I wanted to be able to control the brightness myself by pressing that side switch. But not the SK05 here. You can see I'm switching the rotary dial and nothing is happening, so I can select it without it blasting light everywhere. But if I turn the flashlight on and turn the dial, then it will switch. So I like this level of control here that the SK05 has, where if it's on, it'll just switch back and forth, but if it's off, it won't blind everybody and activate itself. And that was my biggest issue with that other flashlight. So once again, the SK05 does something really, really smart. And another pro is the aesthetics and the ergos here. So the aesthetics, I think the flashlight looks great. And in my hand, it feels really nice, especially in the orientation it was meant to be in. sort of overhand like this with my thumb right there on that side switch. So overall, I think the SK05 is a great flashlight, but let's talk about a few of the negatives here. One negative is there's no moonlight mode. So there's no 1 lumen or 5 lumen moonlight or firefly mode. If I want to carry this every day, I'm going to want some sort of moonlight mode, especially if it's the middle of the night and I grab this to go get a drink of water or use the bathroom and I don't want to disturb anybody else. I want a really low 1 lumen or 5 lumen moonlight mode. And another negative is the gimmicky RGB lighting modes right here. So you guys already know the ones I like the best. But some of these like this rainbow, I'm not really sure if I need it. And it's just taking up space. So when I cycle through, I don't want to have to go through a bunch of these novelty lighting modes to get to the good ones. So either don't include those or give us a way to program this where we can take some of these modes out that we don't need. But everything else here is great. This is actually one of the better flashlights of this style that I've reviewed in a while. This version right here is about $100 and I think the Pro version is going for about 150. I believe those prices are right. If I'm wrong, I'll slap the prices over here somewhere. Yes, 150 and even $100 is pretty pricey for a flashlight, but this does a lot and it does a lot of smart things as well. I think this would be a great flashlight to put in your car for emergency purposes or just to have in your car just as an everyday flashlight. But especially with this cop light right here. I don't want to say cop light or police light, but that's what it reminds me of. But this emergency red and blue flashing light, I think this is great coupled with the magnetic tail. I like it. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the Loop Gear SK05? Now, if you want to check this out for yourself, I will put links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe, and I got to turn this off. It's actually getting too warm in here now. I really like this jacket. iHood did a video on this a long time ago. It has heating zones everywhere, even right around the pocket area. It's nice. And go!